So why can't you land a role in Germany? And this question has many answers. Some of them are very obvious, such as we are in a crisis, there are hiring freezes in big tech, and a lot of internationals don't speak good enough German, like let's say C1 or C2, or at the level where they can work, so they cannot really work for Mittelstand. And obviously, the AI restructuring is also one of the answers. But lately, I've been seeing different dynamics, and they are more on the employee side. And as someone who has built a community, Laid Off and Fabulous, and also runs mentorship for laid off people, I am seeing three reasons that prevent people from landing roles. And you might not like them, but it's something that I've seen, and I hope that you can learn from it. So the first reason is when you automate your entire applications cycle with AI, which is pretty cool, and a lot of stuff can be automated and it makes things easier. However, just like before, a very beautiful cover letter, a very good email to the hiring manager is something that still has priority. And when I see cover letters created with great systems, great automation with AI, it's very sloppy. It's not personal. It's just like writing with AI. And even if you make it through the ATS system, even if somehow it happens and your CV is in front of the real human being, they're still human beings, and the moment they read some generic AI crap, you lose them. So I'm all for AI. Some of the things that AI does, it's certainly better than I would have done them, but don't outsource communication and your writing to these systems. Always have a look before you send this out. Okay. And then I have two more reasons. One is general disengagement. And I say this because a lot of people, with my full understanding, truly have been applying for over half a year and nothing's happening. And it's like, okay, I get it. But when people show up to even my mentoring sessions and they are annoyed, and this is how they show up to networking as well, disengagement is something like it's like a little traitor that comes and destroys your career, and it's also a thing that destroys employee morale when you're working somewhere, and it has happened to me. And I can truly tell you, the moment somebody is completely disengaged from their field, is disengaged from what's happening in their town around their job, it shows. It shows because people are drawn to you when you love what it is you do, or you're generally open to what's going on. You have opinions around things, and it might not be that you have to be all pro AI, or like you don't have to be this polished LinkedIn version of yourself. You'd rather like literally being engaged in your area of expertise because it shows, and the more you apply, the less of engagement and excitement there is about what it is you're doing, and it shows. And when I see people that show up to the interviews with the same attitude, which is like, oh well, it's my job, I've done this for 10 years and I'm perfectly suitable. Unfortunately, the market is still looking for people who are on top of what's going on. And this brings me to my next point, which is networking and professional brand. So I know we all hate LinkedIn, and if we use it only for the time where we need it, and then we drop it. So consistency is a thing, and networking is something which is also so it can be so shallow. And I get it when you've been applying for many months. that it gets pretty hard. What I usually tell people is that they need to step up their game and become the leader of their job search. Like, what I mean with that is that people pretend to be in a victim kind of role, such as, oh, well, I'm not getting anything. However, for you to become a leader, you don't have to ask anybody. Like, you are unemployed. You can do whatever. Like, you can start a job search campaign on LinkedIn. You can start day one, day two, day three of an unemployed person kind of thing. And with that, you expand your reach. And also, from personal experience, you bring back this agency to yourself because it sucks sitting there thinking, okay, nobody's giving me a job. But the moment you start being engaged and putting yourself out there and putting little things that you've learned out there, helping others, people will help you back. And it also works for networking. I'm not only talking about networking at the cringe events where everybody screams and nobody truly cares about each other because everybody's kind of selling to each other, but you can start with your own network. And this is what I do in my mentorship sessions as well. Like, you don't need to uh, go to cringe events, but it's also when you mind your own network for opportunities, it's not that you should text your five buddies from your last job. Like, it is a bigger one. So everybody who is out there, you should be on their radar and don't automate this. It should be genuine, nice human messages. And and this truly works. And I've seen people land jobs exactly because they somehow gotten in this referral space. Because guess what? Hiring managers, they are also not thrilled with getting 1,500 applications. Sometimes they just go into their internal channels and they say, hey, I'm looking at 10 referrals and one of them will get the job. And it happens more than you think. So hiring managers also don't want that. And for you to get in there, it's the right thing to do. And anyway, this is what helped me land gigs. I am self-employed, so I'm not searching for jobs. I'm only helping my laid off and fabulous community. So I sometimes feel that I'm talking nonsense, but for me, the hiring market hasn't changed that much. Like, the gigs that I land, they come through word of mouth, and the best roles where I see people get into, a very little percentage of them have been through the regular hiring process. And if they've gotten through, is that because they have a fantastic personal brand and such a network of referrals that people truly love them because people have been working on this consistently while in jobs. But I'm also telling you this, like, even if you're an introvert and you truly hate networking, there are other ways to increase your visibility. And if you're an extrovert, you have it easier in one space, but you have it tougher in the other space. But you can work with both of them. And I hope it was helpful. I've seen people land roles after they started stepping up their game in this, like 3 months in, just because they've been in spaces and they were not afraid to ask and they were not afraid to share and they were not afraid to be vulnerable with this. And with owning your story and being open about what your needs are, and maybe also if you're disengaged as fuck, dig in, like, see, is this something I even want to do? Or I am just rolling into a role that I've always had, but now actually maybe you're not using the time where you could transition because it's apparently so scary out there for the market. It is scary, but people still land roles and we will all recover. So we might as well just use this time to become more fabulous. Have a good day.